Good morning, everyone. I'm speaking to you from the ever-pulsating city of joy, Kolkata, which has produced no less than 5 Nobel laureates and is today proudly awaiting the whirlwind visit of our Prime Minister Narendra Modi to set in motion the Parakram Divas, or Bravery Day, to commemorate the 125th birth anniversary year of our monumental national leader, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Netaji was not far removed from the world of law. He was in fact intimately connected with it. His father, Janakinath Bose, was a lawyer of immense distinction, and his elder brother and mentor, Sarat Chandra Bose, was an outstanding barrister who was at the forefront of India's freedom struggle. Every young law aspirant knows that practicing law is a noble profession. The legendary Indian jurist and judge Venkatarama Krishnaswamy Iyer, who single-handedly assumed the responsibility of funding Swami Vivekananda's historic trip to Chicago to participate in the World Parliament of Religions in September 1893, in his classic treatise, Professional Conduct and Advocacy, lauded the legal profession as the most brilliant and attractive of peaceful professions, with responsibilities both inside and outside it, which no person carrying on any other profession has to shoulder. He further pontificated that an advocate has to deal with the greatest possible variety of human relations and has his mettle constantly tried from every direction. For the same reason, an advocate earns great social distinction which ought not to be misused at any cost. The avowed purpose of law is to preserve and nurture the moral sanctity that binds the society. Senator Robert F. Kennedy, the effervescent brother of President John F. Kennedy, a former United States Attorney General, captured the essence of this sentiment. Lawyers have their duties as citizens, but they also have special duties as lawyers. Their obligations go far deeper than earning a living. They have a continuing responsibility to uphold the fundamental principles of justice from which the law cannot depart. The Supreme Court of India, in a landmark judgment delivered on 17 January 1995, in the case of Indian Council of Legal Aid and Advice versus Bar Council of India, enunciated that since the duty of a lawyer is to assist the court in the administration of justice, the practice of law has a public utility flavor, and therefore he must strictly and scrupulously abide by the code of conduct behoving the noble profession, and must not indulge in any activity which may tend to lower the image of the profession in society. In 1829, Justice Joseph Story, the titanic American lawyer and jurist, stated, "The law is a jealous mistress and requires a long and constant courtship. It is not to be won by trifling favors, but by lavish homage." The first 5 years of the professional career of a lawyer are most critical and invariably determine his success at the bar. If after his admission to the bar, the young lawyer squanders his precious time paying more attention to the varied pleasures of society, the irresistible lure of alcohol, tobacco, and drugs, not to mention the opposite sex, and the alluring amusements of the intellect and mobile telephony and other modern-day distractions, than he does to the study of law and interests of his clients, he can never hope to be successful at the bar. John Scott, first Earl of Eldon, the erudite English barrister and Lord Chancellor of Great Britain, once remarked that in order to become a great lawyer, a man must live like a hermit and work like a horse. This dictum may be too severe for a young lawyer to follow in practice in modern times. But hard work is undoubtedly of paramount importance. Abraham Lincoln, the towering 16th President of the United States, who is universally hailed as the father of modern democracy, astutely revealed in a historic reply to a letter he received seeking his advice on the best mode of obtaining a thorough knowledge of the law. The mode is simple, though laborious and tedious. It is only to get the books and read and study them carefully. Work, work, work is the main thing. William Wirt, the prodigious American lawyer, writer, and statesman, who was the longest-serving United States Attorney General, once advised a young aspiring lawyer, "Take it for granted that there is no excellence without great labor. No mere aspirations for eminence, however ardent, will do the business. Wishing and sighing and imagining and dreaming of greatness will never make you great. If you would get to the mountain's top on which the temple of fame stands, it will not do to stand still, looking, admiring, and wishing you were there. You must gird up your loins and go to work with all the indomitable energy of Hannibal scaling the Alps. Laborious study and diligent observation of the world are both indispensable to the attainment of eminence." My most illustrious senior and guru, Ashok Kumar Sen, the undisputed leader of the Indian bar for over 50 years and the Union Law Minister in the cabinets of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Lal Bahadur Shastri, and Rajiv Gandhi, whom I affectionately called Ashok Mamu, was never tired of reminding me on a very serious note, never tell anyone that you attended the chambers of Ashok Sen. Tell everyone you were trained in the stables of Ashok Sen, where you were whipped to perfection. And in a lighter vein, he said, the lighter the lunch, the better is the performance in court. This rule does not apply to a legal giant like Fali Nariman, blessed with a gourmet Parsi wife. At the same time, the young lawyer must assiduously inculcate the quality of diligence. Lincoln rightly remarked, the leading rule for a lawyer, as for the man of every other calling, is diligence. Leave nothing for tomorrow which can be done today. Lincoln also laid considerable emphasis on the cultivation of the art of extemporaneous speaking. He observed, extemporaneous speaking should be practiced and cultivated. It is the lawyer's avenue to the public. And I would venture to add that such extemporaneous speaking must be characterized by vigor, cogency, and lucidity. If the young lawyer is desirous of becoming a shining star of the bar and the glorious toast of the profession, he must have an exalted standard of ideal excellence. Benjamin Franklin, the phenomenal American polymath, writer, philosopher, politician, scientist, statesman, and diplomat, and one of the founding fathers of the United States, once remarked jocularly, "God works wonders now and then. Behold, a lawyer and an honest man." Young lawyers are often baffled by the hackneyed question, can a lawyer be honest? No man of sense who has read the biographies of Mahatma Gandhi, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar, Lincoln, Chief Justice John Marshall, Sir William Blackstone, Lord Thomas Erskine, Lord Alfred Thompson Denning, and other legal luminaries will ever venture to ask such a frivolous question. In this context, Lincoln aptly observed, there is a vague popular belief that lawyers are necessarily dishonest. I say vague because when we consider to what extent confidence and honors are reposed in and conferred upon lawyers by the people, it appears improbable that their impression of dishonesty is very distinct and vivid. Yet the impression is common, almost universal. Let no young man choosing the law for a calling for a moment yield to the popular belief. Resolve to be honest at all events. Further, Lincoln frankly confessed, "No client ever had money enough to bribe my conscience or to stop its utterance against wrong and oppression. My conscience is my own, my creator's, not man's. I shall never sink the rights of mankind to the malice, wrong, or avarice of another's wishes, though those wishes come to me in the relation of client and attorney." The young lawyer must never lose faith. Anna Eleanor Roosevelt, the charismatic American politician, diplomat, and longest-serving First Lady who promoted the cause of India's freedom struggle and chronicled her 1952 trip to India in a bestseller, India and the Awakening East, succinctly remarked, "If you lose money, you lose much. If you lose friends, you lose more. If you lose faith, you lose all." He must not become unnerved by the numerous hurdles which strike him as almost unconquerable. By perseverance, he will succeed. He must adopt the motto of the inimitable Irish statesman, author, orator, and philosopher Edmund Burke, "Never despair," as his guide. He must remember the lofty distinctions which are inexorably conferred upon successful legal practitioners and relentlessly endeavor to succeed. Before the resolute, hurdles rapidly vanish. Lincoln rightly observed, "If you are resolutely determined to make a lawyer of yourself, the thing is more than half done already." And further, always bear in mind that your own resolution to succeed is more important than any other thing. John Dunning, 1st Baron Ashburton, the eminent English lawyer and politician, once remarked, "Our profession is generally ridiculed as dry and uninteresting, but a mind anxious for the discovery of truth and information will be amply gratified for the toil in investigating the origin and progress of a jurisprudence which has the good of the people for its basis and the accumulated wisdom of ages for its improvement." Lincoln said, "Law is nothing else but the best reason of wise men applied for ages to the transactions and business of mankind." But profound knowledge and sound rectitude will not always ensure success. Much attention must be paid by the young lawyers to manners in his interactions with his clients and fellow lawyers. William of Wykeham, the celebrated Bishop of Winchester and the Chancellor of England, asserted way back in the 14th century, "Manners maketh man." John Rathby, the renowned English lawyer, pertinently observed, "Manner is that invisible quality which insensibly pervades with the happiest effect the works of pure genius. It allures while it awes the mind. It speaks a language that no power but itself can express, and is that Attic fire that enlivens every object to which it communicates its influence. In the advocate, it is more immediately discernible than in any other character. Consequently, the want of it will more easily be detected. It is an indescribable combination of ease and dignity. It mixes with and elevates the character without seeming to form any dominant part of it. It is of a dignified nature and is the result only of a penetrating judgment, a refined and enlarged sentiment, a superior virtue, and an extensive commerce with mankind. In each and every situation, whether in court or otherwise, the young lawyer must never forget that he is first and foremost a gentleman, and that he belongs to a most honorable profession, the dignity of which he must conserve with all strength at his command. He must make sure that no words escape his lips which you would dread to repeat in the presence of the most refined company. By being thus guarded in conversation, he will acquire a graceful style, unblemished by intemperate or coarse expressions, which will be of immeasurable advantage to him in the practice of law, especially in the conduct of cases in court, the argument of cases, and the examination of witnesses. At the same time, the young lawyer must realize the utmost importance of self-control and composure. He must not, under any circumstances, permit anyone to be the master of his temper but himself. He must strive to emulate the manner of the ablest legal practitioners who unfailingly retain their presence of mind and sense of decorum. David Paul Brown, the reputed American lawyer, aptly remarked, by all means, in all circumstances, maintain your composure. If asked what is the most desirable attainment of a lawyer, we should say composure. If briefs do not come instantly, the young lawyer must be gratified to patiently wait until Fortuna, the fickle goddess, smiles upon him. It may be prudent for him to wait enduringly for cases for some time, for then, when he eventually appears in court, if he has made judicious use of his time, he will exculpate himself persuasively. On the other hand, if a case is entrusted to him too early after his admission and he loses it, the injury done to him would be immense. A young lawyer cannot afford to make unnecessary mistakes at the genesis of his career. But failure to obtain cases as soon as he may desire must not ruffle his feathers and must cause him to become discourteous to those with whom he becomes in contact. He must be deferential to all. He must guard his tongue well and must especially remember never to speak perniciously of anyone. And he should especially be careful not to speak disparagingly of any of his professional colleagues in the presence of their clients or even otherwise, no matter what he thinks of their capacity or competence. And the young lawyer should, when opportunity comes his way, seek and obtain the advice of lawyers older and more experienced than himself as to the studies he should undertake. The complexities of practice he does not comprehend, and in fact anything he is not affirmative about. He must never shirk from defending the cause of the poor and underprivileged. Justice Sonia Maria Sotomayor, the first Hispanic and Latino judge of the United States Supreme Court, emphatically stated that lawyers have a professional and moral duty to represent the unrepresented in our society, to ensure that justice exists for all, both legal and economic justice. And last but not the least, the character, credentials, and antecedents of a client should never deter a young lawyer to accept a brief. Here, I am irresistibly drawn to the most pertinent observation made by the Supreme Court of India in its judgment dated 6th December 2010 in the case of A.S. Muhammad Rafi versus State of Tamil Nadu. Every person, however wicked, depraved, vile, degenerate, perverted, loathsome, execrable, vicious, or repulsive he may be regarded by society, has a right to be defended in a court of law, and correspondingly, it is the duty of the lawyer to defend him. I feel confident that young legal professionals will by now appreciate my conception of the do's and don'ts that they should formulate for themselves, and that they will adulate the legal profession and consciously learn what is expected of them as fresh limbs of the law. In conclusion, I am highly emboldened to advocate to them the timeless message of Lincoln. When I have a particular case in hand, I have that motive and feel an interest in the case. Feel an interest in ferreting out the questions to the bottom. Love to dig up the question by the roots and hold it up and dry it before the fires of the mind. Thank you very much.